is going on, guys? I don't even know how to express myself or any other way. This is just an exciting time. Um, welcome. Oh, first of all, to the Offshore Gamescast. I'm Dave,
And I'm Dylan.
and for some reason somehow we've been doing this for over 2 years now. Pretty nicely lining up with about 100 episodes exactly at that.
100 episodes.
Oh my god.
Somehow working out to, just about the 2 year mark ended up just with it. Listen, if we're including some bonus and side content, this
Oh,
is
we've
technically.
done been in there, but it's we're talking about mainlines. We're not talking about
Yeah,
remakes or spin-offs or anything of that sort. We've
no,
remastered our trailer. Doesn't count. Doesn't count. It's just a port.
we're here. We're looking back today.
We are.
This is if you're here for video games, we're going to talk a little bit about some video game stuff.
It's a video
But
game podcast. That's what we're here for.
yeah, but if you're here for just the our deep dive reviews that we're doing, this is gonna be a different episode. This is gonna be looking back more on the podcast itself, more personal with
Mm-hmm.
us. And if you want just that video game content, Zelda just dropped episode 100. You can
So
check that
good.
out. And
What?
in 2 days, Diablo 4 is dropping.
Mm-hmm.
So look forward to that.
It's game season, boys and lasses.
And it's gonna be a chill episode. We're just
Yeah,
gonna chill.
yeah. And
We're
just
just gonna
keep it.
do our thing.
We'll just keep it simple. But
Uh,
we there wouldn't be a podcast if it wasn't for two guys and another guy and another guy and two girls.
I don't know where he's getting the demographics from, but I think what he's saying is we wouldn't be here if there weren't at least some people listening to us. Is that?
I was mainly talking about the staff.
Oh well. Oh, I see.
Yes.
The culmination of the entire staff.
So technically there would be no podcast without the staff.
Okay, sure.
But overall there really would be no podcast if it wasn't for viewers like you.
There we go. This is more what I was looking for.
I mean, it's been an insane journey from the start, and just how fast things have gone. All the people that we've ended up meeting, and just every little fun experience that we've had. It's just been such a rewarding journey to be on.
Yeah, it's been, I guess, not what I ever expected,
No,
but in a great way.
while we're still generally like just kind of small and doing this in our free time, like we've never like even fathomed just like no, I'm lying. We fathomed this, but like we never thought that it could be. We never thought that this would just be where it is.
I didn't think we'd be hitting like some of the numbers we have and the span we have. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't think we would meet the people we met. I did like just talking from a straight up like performance wise and meeting people and making new friends along the way.
Mm-hmm.
In that like I wasn't expecting any of that personally.
No, I mean, like we mentioned before, to me, we're still just two guys who just hanging out every week and just shooting the same old shit. But there's
That's how it started.
it's a much grander scale now, even if
It
it
is.
doesn't
It
feel
is.
like it.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna. I guess. Listen, we'll get mushy throughout it,
We will.
and we're not forgetting Lyle. We're gonna talk about
No,
Lyle.
Lyle's important too.
Yes, she is. But let's. All right. We're gonna to be really chill. We're just gonna start with an unboxing.
The most gaming thing that you can do.
I recently got an Xbox Series S.
And
I'm not.
I'm okay with that.
I am not open it yet. It's mostly for. I mean, I don't think my poor PC can run Starfield. So if we're hitting that point, I had to do something. So I
Yeah.
got myself a Game Pass machine.
Hey. As long as that's all you need, it's your exclusive box. That's all it is.
That's all it is.
That's all it is.
It's my
Crack.
Game Pass machine.
Let me see it. Crack it open. Where is it?
Okay, well, first I need to find some scissors to open it. And it is the holiday edition.
Oh, where's the holiday scissors?
Uh, you're right. I need to find my holiday scissors first, but that's weird. All right, hold on. I have to figure this out because my lights just went out, and I don't know if that's a power problem. Hold on. I gotta try to figure this out. Oh, okay. My monitor's back on. Maybe we can get the lights back on. Whoa! Holy sh! There you go. Oh, thanks, Dave. Oh, Dave's here.
Hi.
When did you get set up in the room?
When the lights were off.
That was quick.
Yeah.
We're here in person.
Hi.
This is just like it used to be.
Except it's nicer.
It is nicer.
There's no wicker tables.
We'll be talking about that. Welcome to the official start of this. Let's open this Xbox.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, as you saw, I got it's the holiday edition.
Oh wow.
Because that's, for whatever reason, Amazon is weird. Thanks for the scissors.
Oh no, don't worry about it.
Amazon is weird with like its selections.
I one of the first Xboxes I ever got was a holiday bundle that came with Skyrim and I think Forza Horizon 4? No, not Forza Horizon, Forza Motorsports 4.
Did it have, when you turned on the thing, was it like Happy Holidays?
That I have no idea. I was so young. This is a good 13, almost 14 years ago.
Oh, so you were like 22?
Yeah. I was just a tadpole.
Oh my god. It's a good thing you gave me scissors.
I knew you'd be struggling.
Yeah. Alright, here it is. You ready for this? Did yours have this? Because you got a launch thing. Gotta power my dreams.
Ooh. I have no idea. It's been like 30 years since I got my other Xbox.
Well, you got an X too. This is an S.
Yeah, I got a C, which means I have a disc tray.
I don't need this. I got this. I mean, I've been talking about getting one for a while just to play like Game Pass shit on my TV. But my PC is not exactly modern or up to date with its hardware, and I don't know if this can run Starfield. I don't think it can.
That's what half the people are getting it for anyway. But all it is just a Game Pass box. It has nothing else to offer.
Yeah, that's what we use it for.
Pretty much.
Or like one of those occasions where it's like, oh, this is on PlayStation and Xbox and Steam. When that's the case, I'll just buy wherever it's like the cheapest if it's not on Game Pass or something.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's it.
That's
Here
it.
It is.
There's no cord.
There's I mean,
there has to be a cord.
There has to be a cord. It's not obvious.
There has to be a controller too.
It's here. There's two cords.
On and C.
HDMI and power. There is a controller. I'm not going to use this controller.
Why not? What, do you have a better one?
I do. This is the controller comes with. Boom. It's typical white controller. I got this puppy. This is what I use on PC.
What color is that?
It's like a dark blue and white and black. That's one that I don't think it's an Elite, but it's one of those where you can order from Xbox and like choose the colors you want.
Okay, so just like a design lab.
Yeah.
Okay, dog.
So I can use the white one, but all right. Well, I guess now that you're here in person.
Yeah, I mean, there's some. I feel like we could definitely have a few things that we could talk about.
Just a few.
Heart to heart, face to face.
As we said earlier,
duke it out.
We're celebrating.
We've been doing this too long now.
You can say that.
So when was it official? Was it June 3rd?
June. It was early
or
June.
2nd.
I don't know. It was around there. It was the first week of June of 2021.
I think
21.
I think June 2nd we recorded the trailer. June 3rd it was uploaded, and that was like the start.
Wait, was it 2020?
No.
Yeah, no, it was 21.
Yeah,
It had to have been.
because it's only been 2 years.
Yeah, it was 21.
Yeah.
So let's talk about why we started this to begin with.
How many are we? I don't. If you've, they might not. They're not out yet fully,
Maybe.
but we've been. This is something that we've talked about a few times. But the full gist, podcast.
That's it. That's the whole gist. Let's talk about how we met, Dave.
How'd we meet? My parents back in 1996.
Oh, okay. We're just gonna do the full bio up until.
Well, honestly, it really goes back to my grandparents.
Well, really, it goes back to your great grandparents.
Really, it goes back to God. It all goes back to God.
We're opening that discussion up.
So, if it wasn't for my grandparents, I would have never had an aunt, who never would have had kids, who never would have been my cousin, who never would have gone to school with you. That's where it all began.
Oh, yeah, that is where it all began, actually. I forgot about that.
I was working at a job that I hated, that was retail, but it was just shit. And I got a message out of nowhere like, hey, this stinky small boy that I went to school with.
I'm sure that's how they described
me. To a T. They're hemorrhaging people at this business.
We were looking. This was still the point where I work. It was strictly like I only was working with family or people I grew up with.
Yeah, very close knit.
This was like the first time that we were having to like branch out, kind of like another step. So I was asking just like anyone I was friends with. Was like, hey, you looking for a job, or you know someone like cool that is?
Because even not being as close knit, you were still trying to keep it as close knit as possible. Because you're not trying to find some random person off the street. You're like, somebody, because there's still a connection between us.
Yeah. And then you came in your first day.
Well, I came into the store thinking that your brother was you.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Because they told me to go in and look for Dylan. So I went in and I saw a guy and a girl. One of them I was replacing. And it wasn't the dude, and the dude wasn't Dylan. And I was like, this is a terrible start. But almost immediately, within 10 minutes, I got the job. And then I met Dylan shortly after.
On his first day is when we met.
On my first day. And in between thinking I could be a serial killer, we talked about Resident Evil 7, a recent release.
That was, I remember specifically, I was talking about, who we'll talk about him, but Al was working with us there.
Editor Al.
And I was talking with him about, it was just video games in general. And you were behind the counter, it's like, you guys play video games?
Because that's one of those things where it's like, I'm the new guy, so it's like obviously you're still gonna hang out with the people that you know and work with, what you're gonna stay comfortable with. Right. But I'm also sitting there and I'm like, what's going on? We get I like games. Hey, me too.
It's that weird phase of like, I'm gonna talk with this person, but at the same time, here's someone I've known my entire life. Like,
yeah.
I'm gonna mostly talk to them.
Yeah.
And then that's what started, because I was talking about Resident Evil 7. And I think you had like just beaten it, and I had just started it.
So my first official day working was May 4th, Star Wars Day. And you were like either starting it or partway through it, and I beat it like, because it came out January 27th. I beat it mid like February. So it was still pretty recent.
Right. And it was from that first day, like the days after that, it was always coming into work and like, hey, so where are you at now?
Yeah.
And then we talk about it. And that kind of snowballed, right? Mm-hmm. That became our thing, where it was, even if it was a game like you were playing that I never heard of, you'd be like, oh, so I just did this, and like, you know, I mean, excited to talk about it.
It's interesting because I feel like it's It's gotten easier nowadays, but it wasn't easy to necessarily find someone who played games as often or as frequent. And when you did find someone, it's hard to find someone on the same level as gaming. And it just so happened we were both like, yeah, we both just sit down, play games cover to cover, and then we move on, and then like that's it. Like it just
Right.
we were single player campaign there for the story and the experiences, and then we're done.
Which is also, it's definitely harder to come by. Maybe it's better now or different
Mm-hmm.
now, but at the time it was like, if you come across someone that's gaming, they're like, yeah, I play Call of Duty like with my friends, like, which is fine, but it's
Yeah.
not really like what we were doing.
Or even if they did branch out, it was still just a hobby to them. It's
Right.
not. It wasn't so like for such a focal point like it was to us, and it just so
Right.
happened. It was like, well, we can click over this is so easily.
Yep. And that ended up leading to a step further. We were checking pretty much every day. So we have two computers at the store, where one of us, we're each on a computer looking
Mm-hmm.
up like all the recent game news. Like that was, it was the first thing we would do because we were coming at the same time for our shifts, and that's what we would do. We would sit down, go over the news, talk about the game, and then it, that was our day, like every day.
I mean, there was more downtime, especially during certain parts of the year,
Yeah,
to the point where, especially like if there was like a E3 or if there was a Game Awards type thing coming around, like especially the amount of news that would come up, we would sit there and be like, "Oh God, it's a stupid fucking set. There's nothing happening today."
right.
Like it's just like it's so, and it felt like that day dragged more so because there was
Totally.
nothing to like new to talk about. It was just
Yep.
the same old shit. But we would sit down and just go on separate websites and all day long and like, oh shit, did you check this out? Like it's 5 o'clock, something just came out. Like, oh damn, like it just boom, and like the next 3 hours would fly by.
Yep.
But it got to a point where we would just it grew to more than just like oh, did you check this out? To be like such more like critical about it, and it just kind of felt fluid to be like, I feel like we could do this so much better because that's what everybody does. They're like, what is it missing, and what can we fill that gap with?
Right. And whether or not we actually fill that gap or add anything new, that's not for us to decide.
No.
But that's what it felt like. Where it's we have a chemistry, obviously,
Hmm.
and we're both really into this, and that came up a few times in a few different variations too.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, we should do some of this. We should like make a YouTube channel. We should we should live stream, and
Yeah. I
it's
mean,
always one thing to talk about it.
hmm
It's another thing to actually do it.
like Twitch is a big one, and I feel like that's even harder for the materials that you would need, the resources,
Yeah.
especially cost wise. Like that's a big step, compared to just needing like a laptop that you might already have and just some recording equipment. To like we mentioned numerous times, we have been blessed in that regard for
Yeah.
your brother having basically his own little music studio. So it's like, all right, these are pretty high quality mics that we could just use.
Yeah, he had stuff that was like, I don't use these anymore. You just have them.
But I mean, I've mentioned this too. That over the years, 3 times have I been involved in the possibility of starting something, and twice has been with you. And as the broken record continues, if you can make it happen, I will be there.
That's what Dave always said.
But it hasn't happened yet, so I'm not there.
So another thing that really sparked this. So I was listening for a good while to Giant Bomb, which if you're listening to us, you probably know who Giant Bomb is. And they went through a thing where a lot of the original people, or the people that were there for a long time, split off and left to do. There was companies where it was recently bought, there were changes happening, all that stuff, and it was like a new era, right? And since then, some people have come back. It's changed, like it's gone through a lot of changes, but that moment of like, well, there goes the gaming podcast I was listening to all the time. Like, this is gonna be completely different now. It's not what I'm used to, and changes. Nobody likes change typically.
No.
And it was around that time that was the spark of like, if I'm not gonna be able to listen to it, let's just do it.
Yeah, like if
Let's
especially
do it.
for how much you enjoyed it, like that was a part of your life, and now that part is just kind of empty. But you still like that aspect of it. It's like I gotta fill it. I gotta fill that gap somehow,
Right.
and might as well just make it my own.
And since that, so I do. This is a good time to talk about the fact that recently, where I work, Dan Reichert came in to the store that I work at, which
Address him directly. Address the man. Thank the man.
Thank you, Dan, for your business.
And who else?
Well, I'm getting there.
Look, well,
we're gonna get there.
We gotta thank them. It's appreciated.
And Mike Mahardy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike Mahardy.
Thank you, Mike.
So he came in. So he is someone that left Giant Bomb a while ago. Came back. He's there currently, and he came in just like this last weekend before we recorded this, and I was like pretty sure it was him. And then he came into the counter. I was like, are you Dan Reichert? And super nice guy. Shook my hand, asked me my name. Really nice. So, they're in town where it just so happened that Mike Mahardy is having his bachelor party. I'm pretty sure it's his. I think that's what Dan said.
Dude, if you get this wrong, you are fucked.
I'm fucked. They're in town for a bachelor party, which they're going to talk about on the Fire Escape cast, which that's one that Dan does with Mike Mahardy and Mary Kish. And weird timing that we're like about to do this 100 episode celebration and talk about like why we started, what inspired us.
Yep.
And like that happens.
It's a sign from Pod.
It's the Pod guys.
Yeah.
But both of them super, super nice. Just interesting, weird timing.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm glad. It's also, you always hear all the time about like the people that like inspire you to do things, and then you meet them and they're kind of like assholes.
Yeah.
Not the case, which very happy about that.
Is this the part where I can expose you about having an entire Giant Bomb full like jumpsuit?
I do have the my girlfriend got it for me actually. I think it was for my birthday. Maybe it was Christmas. But they have a tracksuit, or they did. I think it was a limited time thing with like the track jacket and the pants. By the way, those pants are still like my favorite sweatpants, like a track pants, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah,
they are so comfortable. But yes, I do have that. I also have a Giant Bomb shirt. So, like I said, they were a big part of inspiring this, and just interesting that right before we record this, they come in. And yeah, maybe we'll probably put this out on social media and tag them, because I didn't mention anything about this. So
Dylan's a good boy. He's not trying to.
No, I didn't want to bother them with they're here for a bachelor party. I'm like, well, what about my podcast?
Can I get a picture, please?
Yeah, like I'm not. Just, I don't feel comfortable doing that to people just trying to live their life.
Now, if he asked you for a picture, would you just like shove him off?
Yeah, I'd be like, okay, you get on my level.
How professional of you.
No, if he offered a picture, I'd be like, yeah.
No, he wanted a picture from you.
Oh, like opposite?
Yeah, and you were like, get out.
Like if
I'm
I was like,
done.
Are you Dan Reichert? And he was like, are you Dylan from the Offshore Gamescast?
You're like, no.
And then, like X amount of people listen to it. It's probably like a 1,000th of the size of their audience.
Like he's sitting at his desk and it's like, oh, you hear about Offshore Gamescast? And he's like,
but yeah, just a cool, fun thing that happened with weird timing, just weird, you know?
But I mean, that's
happened to be also in a town with
no one goes to this town.
Nobody. Stores that are identical to what, like, there's high competition. So it just like so happened to work out that way.
It's the kind of plaza that like normal people go to and they go, well, let's go to a different plaza. So the fact that they walked in, it had to have been the neon lights. It had to have been the fact that we were grandfathered in. Like it
was realistically what probably happened is they have wherever they're staying and they looked up a liquor store and we just happened to be the closest.
Maybe they looked up reviews and they were like, these guys seem really nice.
Probably no. I definitely didn't go that deep.
I don't know, man. You never know.
It was Dan having to come in and he said that, and then he told Mike like, hey, you should check out that store, and then they just bought all their stuff from us.
Still a cool experience, though.
Very cool. So I get that. So inspiration is there. The timing is right for us to start this, and we actually do it. And the plan was for it to be the two of us and Al.
It was supposed to be a Triforce.
It was, and he did put a lot of effort into the creation, like the naming,
It was when it came to the actual conception, like literally. Unfortunately, up until the recording of the trailer,
pretty much, yeah,
he was there. And it was like we had this whole plan to just be the three of us, and it would have been like a cool dynamic to riff all. Especially, I could only imagine the arguments between Al and I on so
You
many
would have
topics.
really fought.
It would have episodes would be so much longer.
But he was, the timing was still good because it would have been better than if we started and then he pretty much he didn't have the time to commit to this. And to be fair,
it's a big
looking
commitment.
back now, this has been such a fucking time commitment.
Oh my god! Like
this is a huge part of our lives,
and it only legitimately, besides like free time working, takes up like more so for Dylan. Like it's an entire day, and but it's the fact of just having so much extra life and like work and just making sure to upkeep house responsibilities, relationships, everything, and just making it all balance and work. School, it's all insane.
Yeah. So I mean, it was probably a good decision.
Yeah, but I mean, it only could have imagined like what we would be like today if we did have all three of us.
Right. And well, it would be, who knows?
I mean, I still, the amount of times we recommended just to have him come on, he is Editor Al.
So that's why when we say Editor Al, that's who we're referring to.
And
he's not the editor. I'm the editor.
That was our little role just to give him, because like we wanted to keep him around because he's still part of it. So technically the podcast has 4 members and has a family of 6.
Sure, we can go with that.
The Offshore Family Cast.
The Offshore Family Cast. We'll do like a Brady Bunch thing where
that'd be great. I would love that.
Let's talk about the original name.
Yeah, so the real conception.
We were not always the Offshore Gamescast. That was actually far from our first choice.
It took us between 3 weeks to a month to settle on Offshore Gamescast and be okay with it and find out that it was usable.
That was by far the longest process, because also the name holds up a lot of things. You can't officially like make your social media handles. You can't make the podcast page with whatever host you're using. You can't finish the art. You can't that holds up a lot of the process, and we were all pretty happy with the Game Harbor originally.
Like we live on an island, surrounded by water. Everything's water. Everything's fishermen. Everything whatever. So we just tried to incorporate it somehow, and it's something with video games. And just the Game Harbor sounded good.
It did feel good.
Yeah.
Only to find out it was used in multiple places, which we just talked about this on the Your Friendly Neighborhood Gamers, their podcast. That's one. So first off, there was like a tabletop thing, right? The Game Harbor that was a little unclear because it was like, I think they were just Game Harbor.
Yeah.
And we were like the Game Harbor, but that was
still too
weird.
Close.
And there was another content creator, the Game Harbor, that I even messaged on Twitter because they were like not active for years. I don't know what their current status is with that, but I messaged them like, hey, we were thinking about doing this and this. We really like the name. Noticed you weren't active. Would there be any chance you'd be comfortable with us using it? Never got a response, so never really. But also with the tabletop thing, never really felt comfortable.
Yeah,
doing that.
Looking back to now, like if we were the Game Harbor sounds too cozy, too calm and cozy for what we either are or ended up becoming. I feel like Offshore Gamescast just has a professionalism name sounding to it.
Well, we've also been, that name is so
ingrained in us. Like it's just an everyday thing.
You know, we've said it thousands of times over the last 2 years.
There's a universe where we are the Game Harbor.
There is. And it's, and I even have the oh god, what I do? I put the Xbox on top of it.
Oh my god.
This was the piece of cardboard that was drawn on for kind of similar to the logo we always went with.
So I always felt proud about it because we like I mentioned before, we had these cardboard dividers for our job, bottles and stuff to put in between to keep them from clanking and whatnot. So we would go through those, make lists and notes and ideas. And I think she did an amazing job bringing it to life, but I always felt so excited of how close of a resemblance to the original drawing, because it's my drawing. I drew that. I did it.
You did that, and then my girlfriend, she did. So our original logo, which if you know, I think after was it about a year that we switched that, or no, it was going into season 2, so it was about
Yeah.
6 months.
Every season we tried to do something better.
And we kept so that our original logo was more of a hand drawn thing, kind of going like a wavy like nautical hand drawn thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we switched to also done by my girlfriend a more graphic art style that fits a podcast more.
Yeah.
And that's what we've stuck with since then. And then until you came up with the kind of like the alternate logo or throwback logo that we use for various things.
Our 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that kind of solidified, but you can definitely see like the roots of it here because it's still
It's
very
like
similar.
Yeah, I wanted to have like a treasure chest, like have it be like very like I wanted to have like the chain of the anchor to be involved, like leaning up against a rock. So like most of what was there. We also, something that we don't talk about as often is the amount of times where every season we wanted to update our image with different video game items. We did it once.
We did. We did it once, and we were gonna talk about doing it like
and
every game of the year. We'd be like, "Oh, we can put some of our favorite games from that year." Like,
yeah,
put it in the. It just,
But funny enough, like it's interesting to see as like especially as time has gone on, the game items that still sit there because my item has and still has been the bomb from Eastward.
Yeah.
And I have no problem with that. I love Eastward. It's fantastic.
My Mario star is fitting.
Yeah,
so,
like it works. It like I got no problem with it.
But it you can kind of see that evolution.
I'm telling you, now that we actually have the cardboard thing, put it in the background. Put it somewhere in the background.
I could probably hang it, or maybe I'll put it like with the bunger or something.
Yeah, somewhere it's just like more history. I would frame it, but that's just me.
I'm probably not gonna frame it.
I would frame it.
So that's what got us our start, and then I want to talk about. We didn't put it down, but I do want to talk about our first episodes.
Yeah, or just the general like awkwardness.
And we launched in June, and our first episode was E3 predictions. E3 was a thing at the time still.
Yes.
E3 predictions, and the second episode was like a recap.
Mm.
And boy, we sucked.
So if you don't know, the way that our seasons revolve are basically around a 6 month period. We either start or end with a big gaming event, whether it be now Summer Games Fest or the Game Awards, and we take a little 2-week break in between. It's never a break. We're still working. And
no, it's never a break.
It's never a break. But at this point, we're in the middle of season 5 now, and it's fucking insane that it's gone on this long. But it's continue. I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, so it was awkward, right? We were not good, and we've gotten better since at least being comfortable. Again, it's not for us to say if we're better at this, if we're good at it.
But you can listen to something like the quality of this episode and the last, not even just like the vision, like the audio quality, but just how we go about it, and it's night and goddamn day. Like it's
we're comfortable with it now. It's like it's just a thing we do every week.
Yeah,
we have for 2 years, so it's like whatever.
And as I keep mentioning, there was always you had the first episode jitters for a while.
Oh, I had the fucking trailer jitters.
You had everything, and I'm over here like no matter what, I'm just my headspace is I'm in a basement talking to my bud about games, and no one else is listening.
And that's the thing. We are we are now, but we were
back in the basement.
We were in a basement talking into microphones that unless we wanted it to, no one would ever hear. And I was so nervous about, like, literal butterflies in my stomach as we're getting ready to record a trailer.
Yep,
like a 30-second trailer.
But I mean, on the flip side, that's the beginning. Like that is also like if what do you want to bring people in besides your version of advertising, which would be our trailer?
Yeah.
It's marketing. It's it's business, baby. The Nintendo fucking Switch, baby.
We're sponsored. Let's talk. We put down Will Smith.
Will Smith.
This was our outros are still kind of like this. They've calmed down a little bit.
There's still some good ones. I'm telling you now that there's so many supercuts I want to do, but I would love to just do a supercut of either all the intros because I love to do a Simpsons type intro where it's different every time. and then just our outros just don't follow anything.
No, well, that's the thing, because intros, you still need to follow some sort of, like, you have to introduce yourself, we have to say what the episode's about, we have to do our plugs. Like, that's the intro is, and kind of a behind the scenes thing is like so important to grab a listener.
By the intro, it's like we're getting ready. It's 7 a.m. You know, we're on our way to work. We're getting a cup of coffee, and by the outro, we're 2 shots deep, and we're ready for more.
The outro, well, I guess it really started with us never really knowing how to actually end, how to do an outro.
It's just like I don't care for convention whatsoever. So it's like, all right, guys, thank you so much. It's like, see you in the next one. And like, it's so boring. Just like, and it would just be batshit. Who fucking cares anyway?
So our thing ended up being, it started with just I don't even know what made you say Will Smith the first time.
It was, so the way anytime comedy or jokes or whatever, or just the way my brain flows, it had to have been something that was mentioned either earlier on or just early in the episode that I found good points to bring it back up, to recycle it and like just be like, oh, haha, remember that? Because that's easy comedy. And it's just simple. You just kind of flow with it. So at some point, probably in the first episode that happened, we were talking about Will Smith or actors or something related. And then it just kind of was like, you know what? Boom. And then you were just like, cut. And it was done. And it was just, it just followed for a good 2-ish seasons.
We ended the episodes with Will Smith for a good while. And our whole thing was like, one day he's going to hear this. He's never going to hear it. But
and then the day that will live in infamy came.
We did stop Will Smith before the slap.
Yeah, and we were like, what's the next actor? Like we just Matt Damon. Like we're just gonna end it with just a different person each time.
It's evolved into now. It's just like when we're just the episode will just end. It'll just be like whatever kind of silly or ridiculous thing towards the end. I will just hit stop recording, and that's the end. There's no outro. It just abruptly ends, usually at a point that makes no sense.
90% of the time, after it's over, we shrug our shoulders and just laugh and go, there it is.
Yep, that's usually
we did it. Goes. And then just boom, and we have an episode and it goes up.
Season 1. I think it was season 1. Maybe it was season 2. We also talked about a series you came up with this called Game Swap.
Yes, I think it was season 1. It was super early on.
I even talked about it in the episode that we did. We were like, yep, we're going to do Game Swap. I'm going to give him this game. The idea was to trade games that one of us played and the other one hasn't.
Yeah.
That we liked was like, I want you to play this. Tell me what you like. Report back.
But we want it to be fair. So it's like, if I have to play this, then you have to play that.
Yes.
But at the same turn, doing that, like if what was the first game was what? You gave me, I think, Katana Zero.
I gave you Katana Zero. You gave me Rhyme.
No. I gave you Numa.
That was part of that?
Numa was the first one because that's how I finally got you to play it. Rhyme was supposed to be the second one. You were gonna play Rhyme and I was gonna play Observation.
Right. And never happened.
I never played Observation.
I never played Rhyme. I still have your copy here, which you're gonna take home with you today.
I am. I also my let's quick segue that to our video of my Horizon Forbidden West collector's edition.
Disaster.
Oh my god.
A disaster.
But that is also the same day that I ended up talking to Emily, so that also holds a very special, because literally we matched, and the first thing I said was, I'm going over to my buddies tonight and we're going to record an unboxing video. That is how the conversation began.
I can only imagine her. She's like, oh, fuck.
She immediately turned around. I love unboxing videos. What is it? And I was like, this is great.
It was
but the video,
my girlfriend's tripod, like it was.
Oh my!
It was.
Yeah, you did.
It was a disaster of a video.
Oh
it ended up being basically a TikTok.
Yeah.
Of a slow rotation that wasn't even a smooth rotation of the objects. Nothing was working.
We had a manual lazy Susan type deal where we would put the objects on it, and Dylan would like set the camera up, and I would lean over to the side with my 2 fingers and as smooth as I could rotate it so you could see it, and it is jittering. It's stopping. It is so bad. The quality at points too. Like it's just things weren't easy to see. There was so much unnecessary background
There
room.
really was.
It was a mess.
It was a complete mess.
And
It was bad. I think we've since learned our limitations and what we can or can't do.
And like, all right, we need to definitely get better technology and learn
Yeah.
how to like set things up better. And this
Yep.
is just, but I still love it. I look back on that and with pride still.
Pride is a word.
I love it.
It's you can look back at that as another step of the learning process.
It is. But going back, the whole point of starting that whole game swap thing was because there were games and we were already, obviously it was 2021 we started to do this. We started working in 2017. And I know for a fucking fact it took years years of me saying, "Can you play this game? I think you should play this game. I want you to." Trust me. I've been wanting to tell you spoilers for 2 years. Just play the game. And I was like, "How do I get this man? How do I hook him in to finally play it?" And honestly, if because it was only one episode, I got what I wanted, and I felt good about it.
And that's the thing. It was never like I don't want to play this game. It was just like I do want to play it, and I have so many games like this. I do want to play it. I'll get to that.
And I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel for incentive. I'm like, where is it?
It never happens. Things get thrown into the backlog that are just become like it's probably never gonna play that.
But through that, not only did I get you to play that game, which I loved, I also played Katana Zero, and I thought that game was great. And I do not think that was a game I ever would have just hopped in on my own.
In theory, and maybe someday we will bring this back. In theory, it is a good idea. It is a good excuse for both of us to jump into things that we were never going to.
I mean, we also had similar ideas. There was still an idea back in the day before the studio was built, before I even moved, that we were going to have the setup where on this couch or wherever you were going to do it, have the couch, face the TV,
right.
And specifically record a gameplay session of me playing Life is Strange 3 because you had played it and that was the one game I didn't, and also the only game from the series that you did.
Yep.
So you wanted to do a thing of what did I think of it from someone who's played it all, and also just kind of go through it from someone that's your only experience, and that is akin to that sort of thing. I want your reaction. I want to know what you think of it as you're going through it.
These are the sort of ideas that we have that are still like, I would love to do that.
We're just finding the right way to implement it.
And also one of the only feasible ways that would happen is if this is something we're like doing for a living.
Right.
The amount of time it takes, with everything else that we have, it's the fact that we turn out as much as we do now under circumstances is impressive to me.
It's that back of the brain commitment obligation of just, you gotta do it. You've done it. You can't miss it. I won't let you.
That's kind of where it's become so ingrained in our thing that it's like, yeah, it's like, no, we're like, it's a
weekly circadian rhythm. It just happens. It's part of the routine.
It does happen where for one reason or another we just like mentally can't do it.
Yeah, life sucks.
But for the most part, we're both, and Lyle is like this soon. We'll get to her. Where unless we are at that point, it's just kind of like we're just gonna do it.
Tough it out.
We're not feeling 100%. We're gonna do it.
I don't remember the specific episode number or what we talked about, but it was late September, early October of 2021 episodes. Terrible, awful time. And you can hear it in the episode. You can just hear my voice being down. You can tell it's different. And those are the moments where your head tells you, it's like, fuck you, tough it out. Like, you're here for a reason. Like, you've done it. You're gonna keep doing it, and it doesn't matter what you think. Just get it out.
Yeah, we've done episodes through some shit for sure.
Yeah, and shit keeps happening. But you know what? This is too much of a passion and a positive aspect of our lives to just put aside in general.
That's probably a good point to transition into how, for anyone that maybe doesn't know, the fact that we're in person is very old school for us. Yes. It was our first, it was what, 2 seasons? And then you moved?
Yeah, because it was 2 seasons equate out to a year. We started in early June. and it was late June of 2022 that I ended up, like late June, right at the beginning of July 2022, when I moved up here. And even then, it wasn't video, so like it was still like that aspect. If someone were to come in and just start watching the video, they it's a whole different vibe and just like experience, because like obviously you want to sit there like as a viewer, you're getting it here, you're getting it like there's a lot of ways you're consuming it. And but some people just generally like podcasts, and you can, it's a much different vibe.
Right. And it's going from, it was an adjustment going from in person to remote.
Mm-hmm.
Just first off, tech wise, having to figure out
Immediately,
that
because
whole thing.
his brother had really good equipment. I can't have that. I can't just take it.
No.
That's mean. So I
That's a crime.
I'm over here, and for a while I was using Emily's laptop with just the internal microphone, and
we had to just make it work.
and God, the audio quality for me went down. And then I bought a mic, and then I got another mic, and Dylan bought me a mic.
I
and
did,
just
I did buy you. I think it was for your birthday or
yeah.
something.
And I was like, we gotta get better. And it's, I'm pretty happy right now. My mic is okay.
It that was an adjustment, and then just the being in person, chemistry is I mean, it's different, right? Like it's just,
Yeah. I mean, I could smell you.
I hope that's all right. Hope I'm doing okay on that department.
I've dealt with it before. I'm numb.
Okay.
I'm numb to it.
You were used to it for years. It's just like coming back into it.
Yeah, it's riding a stinky bike.
There was also at the a little bit before you left. There was, well, more than a little bit, but there was always the talk of taking our basement spot, which was just unfinished basement under water pipes in the dark.
But literally in this
spot where we are right
where
now.
we're sitting right here.
We were always talking about building a studio. We got to build a studio. Let's take it to the next step. And we pretty much always are thinking about like, what's the next step? How do we reach that next step? Where do we?
It's content. How do we make it better so people enjoy it more?
And the idea was, we can't do video in this basement the way it is.
If someone's peeing, we have to wait.
Yes, we hear everything. And you have since moved, but now we have this room that is it's obviously more than just like a recording spot. It's it's a hangout room. It's where I spend most of my free time.
It's one of those things that I'm still like salty about, because I ended up moving in.
It's your first time in it.
My first time, because that's the thing. I ended up moving in late June, early July of 2022. We were supposed to have this studio done December 2021. Or like Christmas 2021 was like supposed to be the start date of working on it.
No. Things never happen like that.
No, because life gets in the way. Things happen. You know, whatever. It's cool. It's smaller than I expected. But what do you expect? I mean, it's walls. You have to make the space closer. Help.
By putting up walls and enclosing the space, those walls are taking up room. And then also by cutting off the ceiling the way we had to.
But it's perfect.
It's the same amount of space, but it seems smaller because before it was just huge and open.
I'm perfect tallness for this room.
Yeah, it worked out great. It's just my girlfriend and I, like I said, this is where we spend our days.
And it's what you would expect from like a dope ass just chill room. You got the big TV. You got
That's what we went for.
You guys have like your it's pretty much split down the middle. You have the dope book fantasy side, the game side. You just have your own spaces, and it works. It just works.
And then we started video.
And everything changes so fast.
Yeah, there's been a lot of change.
I mean, as of just recently, I moved again, and I have my desk, my full setup. I'm still working on.
And you have your first like real setup though. Before you were like winging it.
Oh yeah, I mean, from the get go, even just sitting in the basement here, I have been winging it, and just making the most of it. But like, I'm still in the process of like trying to figure out what I want to set up. I got to get more frames to like put more decorations and stuff in the background, shelves for the rest of my desk, because I got to clear off my desk with clutter and shit. But it's so exciting just because that's the room that we call the office. So I'm like, I sit down, I'm like, all right, let's get to work.
Yeah, we do the same thing here. Even though like it's way more than just like the spot where we record.
Mm-hmm.
It's the studio. That's what we call this room. It's the studio.
It's the association, and it really helps out with the brain. That's why doctors say don't do things in your room all day. The bed in the room is for sleeping. That's
that honestly has been also a good part of this because before this, our space was the bedroom.
As most people.
Where we had.
Yeah.
And now like having another space, it does make a good difference.
Mm-hmm.
The show format has changed a lot over time.
Going back, what was it, season 1 when we first initially did drop the anchor?
Season 1 was and the first dropping the anchor was 12 minutes, I believe.
No.
I think so. Pretty sure it was 12 minutes.
No.
We did, think about what we did. We did 12 minutes. We did Row 96. We did the VR game by the Rick and Morty people.
Counting Plus.
And we did we do the Forgotten City, or did we just talk about that one?
I think Forgotten City was one.
We did, and then that was it. And out of those, 12 minutes, right? That's the first one.
Damn it. August 30th, 2021.
There it is.
Why'd the first episode have to be about incest?
Yeah. We weren't expecting it to be.
It shouldn't have been. That game.
12-minute spoiler.
That game was one of those that came out that had like one of the biggest hypes and immediate drops and like falls of any civilization.
That style though kind of stuck with it. A little different because we were focusing on like we're gonna do deep dive into story spoilers.
Yeah, that was like we were gonna talk about it anyway, but we are not gonna be able to talk about it in depth because I mean, looking back now, what a fucking mess our show was of just these are the games that we've been playing. You know, over the span of like 3 weeks, I'm going to tell you start, middle, and finish of a game and whether I liked it or not, and liking it. Like it has like a documentary-ish type feel where you're kind of going along like Seinfeld, like as the days go on, just general life. But as like an episode format, it didn't work.
It wasn't a good flow to it.
No,
because like you think of someone who's tuning into that, they're tuning in like, oh, okay, this is my first episode. I'm gonna hear them talk about 6 games and just playing like, oh, they're gonna talk about the middle of it, updating from like it's not a good flow. It was all over the place. It was it needed a change.
And I mean that's kind of where I look at dropping the anchor as sort of like a foreshadow because that's inevitably like just the show now is just a cleaned up version of that.
Right. That's what it is, and it's
it was probably always the course.
And not exactly going chronological order, but this is also a good time of when we were making that change. We had to think about a couple of things. One of which was time, because the two of us were doing that. If our current format of each of us bringing a game to the table and just doing an hour-long review talking about it,
because what we had was 1 week in between episodes to talk about whatever we played during that week. And there were 100% weeks where one of us didn't play anything.
Right.
And it's like...
Because that happens. Like it's...
Yeah. Like life, obviously, as we say, life gets in the way. What can you do? Maybe you're just not in the mood for a game. It happens. But, you know, like that's where like the overall flow just wouldn't... And it's just like, all right. And then like chiming in from time to time, which is still kind of how it works unless we were to both like play a game like recently like Zelda or upcoming like Diablo or such. But it had to be different.
And in the part of the change too was the fact that we do have different tastes in games. We also have very similar tastes in games, and we we both grew up in the same area. Like we have similar mindsets.
Yeah.
A kind of a breath of fresh air coming in was a good thing for the show, which enter Lyle, who had her own YouTube channel, who we connected through a Game of the Year, which I guess we'll transition to after this.
Yeah.
She came in and we framed it with her as like hey, come on the show for a couple weeks. We're gonna be ending this season 3.
Yeah.
And see how we're all feeling. Are the two of us happy with it? Is she happy with it?
She was interacting a lot. So like
Right.
Dylan is the main one behind like any social Twitter, so like YouTube, like talking. Like I'll jump in from time to time, but like he has a lot of it covered, and whatever. Even though I was supposed to like we had me framed as social media, I'm like yeah, and I'll make a post, but it's like it's hard to keep up with. Mental health is a big thing.
Yeah, it is also very hard to keep up. There are some weeks where
Yeah,
it's not upkept the most,
but not only has like was she interacting a lot, there was a lot of good just communication, just like
yep.
flow. It's like like this works out well. We were thinking about making a format change, not only just focused on changing the way the episode runs, but in a way that gave us more time. So like if we were to just do like a you know Dylan episode, then Dave episode, then Dylan, like that would essentially give us 2 weeks to do whatever we had to do, play a game, write it, understand it, just whatever we had to, and just trying to find a way that maybe extend that a little bit, like, and just bring in a new face. And so you were texting me one night and you're like, what if we brought in someone else and like changed it, like in the process of changing up blah blah blah, and I was like, you're talking about Lyle? He's like, yeah, I'm talking about Lyle. I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that
I thought
was
so.
it was I mean, the idea was still there, but she was the main one of like that's who would fit, I think.
Yeah.
Like that's who we're communicating with the most. She seems to fit in well with us. Like that was the person, and then if that didn't work for whatever reason,
Mhm.
I don't know what we would have done.
So, like we said, we did like a few episode trial run, and it just felt natural. Everything
It did.
flowed, and it was just cool. And here
She's
we are.
been a great fit with us. Pleasure to work with every week.
Mm-hmm.
It's it sucks that with the time difference because huge time difference. It's like what 7 hour time difference or something.
Something like that.
It's tough for us. Like we would have loved to have her here for this. We have pretty much one time a week the three of us can get together. And
She is unconscious.
Yeah, that's it. Other than that one morning every week, she's just out.
She's out.
So we use those for the main episodes, the numbered episodes, and then
Mhm.
the bonus stuff is just it's you and me.
Yeah.
But she has been excellent, a great addition.
And also, I mean, her main focus has been the indie side with Lyle's Indie Corner, and we love our indies. We talk about them whenever we can, but I mean, a lot of the focus are the big releases, AAA games, like the stuff that people are talking about and want to hear about.
And that's also part of like what she brings because she is like so indie focused. We are AAA focused and also like we like our indies.
Mm-hmm.
She is indie focused,
and we'll dabble and realize that a lot of AAA games have problems, and it's like the indie space is comfy.
You can't blame her.
No, you can't.
And so with that too, just a completely different style and games I never even heard of that she's brought in. It's like, oh, that actually sounds really cool.
Yeah, what is the one, Blackwood or Bleakwood or something, that's like the tale of the Baba Yaga and going around like the mystical witchy area with the bow and arrow shit. That just sounds dope, and I never would have heard of that, and I was like, I want to try that.
I also knew nothing about Dredge.
Yeah,
until she brought it and talked about it. I was like, I kind of want to play Dredge now. Like,
it does sound interesting.
So it wish you could be here, but she's an excellent part of the show with great fit with us. And met her through Game of the Year, which is also, I guess, kind of circling it around. Also, mostly inspired by what Giant Bomb does with their Game of the Year. We do a similar thing with debating it out. Our Game of the our special and our categories, and kind of coming to a general conclusion of like what is Offshore Gamescast Game of the Year. Which this year will be interesting because now we have a third person with a whole different perspective and set of games.
Oh my god, that'll be a new set of arguments.
A whole new set of arguments.
We always hype up saying that we're gonna have arguments, and then we line up way too similarly.
No,
this last one, yes,
we had some disagreements.
There were definitely some, but we also fold pretty easily with each other.
Game of the Year was that pick.
Yeah,
between Pokemon and Elden Ring.
That's what I like when we both have something that we're so passionate about. But it's like, yes, but come on, see it from this way.
It's who's the most stubborn right now? Is basically what it is.
It's like, for God, I'm so sick of fighting. Have it, just have it.
But then also all the guest posts we do, also, which is something Giant Bomb does with like celebrity not celebrities, maybe a strong word, but like more well-known people. So like professional wrestlers or higher ups in the industry, stuff like that. And we kind of went with something of like, what if we did something similar, but bringing all these indie gaming podcasts together?
Mm-hmm.
We did our first one, 2021, which we had like 6 guests.
Yeah.
And then a year later, and Liv from Between Two Gamers, check out their podcast. A big reason that we had so many connections was she put together a Discord channel for a bunch of indie podcasters, because that's something we both realized is that no one's really competing with each other.
Yeah.
The indie gaming podcast space is so supportive,
Mm-hmm.
and just everyone's working together, everyone helps each other. So we made a bunch of connections through there, and had also between reaching out to a bunch of YouTubers, which is how we met Lyle, and a bunch of Twitch streamers, we had, I want to say, about 50 guest posts 2022. And that is, it's still on our, we're not taking it down, it's on our website, but it's easily the most work, but also the most satisfying.
Yeah.
To see that, like,
group effort.
The group effort, all the reactions from other people, the people that participated, learning about their games. A lot of like Vampire Survivors. Never heard of that game until Game of the Year came around, and so many people had it on there. I was like, oh, okay, I guess people really like this game. That's probably like one of the most satisfying things that we've done. If the thing that seems like it would have the most impact, if you will.
There would have been, to be honest, there would have been more submissions, but too many of them had Deathloop as their game of the year, so we honestly had to cut them.
Yeah, we just cut those.
Yeah.
I think that was 2021, wasn't it?
Either way, it's better to hide those opinions.
That's why we only had 6. It had nothing to do with the size of the show.
It was actually, we were supposed to have 80 for the first game of the year, but you know what?
We had to cut out 74 of them. PAX. We went to PAX.
Oh, that brings me to another thing, which we did 2 big things, honestly, which PAX was the second one, and our streaming of the Game Awards.
Yeah. Those were the first times that it felt like we're like official, even though we're not.
Do you where's the Game Awards thing?
That's a good question.
How do you fucking not have it near your shit?
I have it somewhere.
And how do you have it lost?
It's somewhere.
I literally have one of my PAX bracelets like just chilling. I love having it here. Oh my god.
It's somewhere. I don't know where it is.
We only got one bad. It sucks because there's 2 of us. Technically 3 of us. But that was awesome when we streamed the Game Awards that one time. Co-streamed. And it was like we were just the smallest blip on the radar. But it felt so cool.
And it was even things about like tweeting about it, and then like Jeff Keighley liked one of the tweets, and it's like, oh shit. Holy shit.
We're a blip.
And then PAX was a lot of fun too.
Mm-hmm.
We had being able to play games, which now is something that we're more used to, just getting like review codes and playing games pre-release, which still feels cool.
It does not take away from the fact of how grateful we are, just the fact that we can have these opportunities. But I mean, PAX is a different beast from the fact of getting to go there and like seeing other people who are obviously in the same space, industry, and just passion set. And just having like there's that level of just like exclusivity of just being like, oh my god, like I can't believe I get to do this.
Right.
And then there's that one game that came out like the next day, and I was like, why the fuck are you here?
Was that the one that launched in early access?
I think it was like Turbo Overkill.
Something like that. But it was fun.
It was.
But yeah, that was a good time. That was also very early video content for us.
Yes.
Of like sitting down, talking about, and you can see that it's still again the difference in like
we did our vlog, our video of just like hanging out in the hotel, the drive, going around the convention center.
Still pretty amateur.
Oh yeah. But just getting to play all those games and then just sitting down talking about it, like going over our notes and just be like, what'd you think? And it's funny because I was just thinking about this again yesterday. I was watching a trailer because apparently The Last Hero of Nostalgaia has a DLC that came out. And it's on sale on Xbox. I was like, oh, fuck.
Did you say The Last Hero of Nostalgaia?
It's not called The Last Hero of Nostalgia. We've been saying it wrong for years. It's The Last Hero of Nostalgaia.
But it's spelled like nostalgia.
Nope, it's not. There's an
It's
extra
not.
A. It's Nostal, Gaia. Gaia. Because it's supposed to be like fantasy themed, but it's playing off nostalgia.
I don't think I'll ever adjust to that.
That's just the way it is.
And then I guess the last thing we did, which we kind of want to move on to something a little different but similar, but we were doing Guess the Game for a while.
Yeah.
Which is, it's a website, guessthE.game. That was not too long after the whole Wordle explosion. It's a little different, but you get pictures of a game and you have 6 guesses to guess what the video game is.
Mm-hmm.
And we were doing that like every week, like comparing our scores. You usually killed me.
I love trivia.
But like comparing our scores and trying to frame it as like, hey, if you're listening, like play along with us on your scores as you did, and it wasn't really.
No one cared.
No, yeah, it wasn't taking off or doing
and that's
anything.
fine.
Totally.
I also, like we said, I just kept kicking his ass.
Yeah. So I was like, we can't do it anymore.
We can't.
It's embarrassing.
It's you know what, and it's okay. We'll hide some of those insecurities in the background.
But after recently doing the guess what, which again, I don't think it'll be out by the time.
Other podcasters do a better job of content.
Yeah.
Managing.
But guessing on Your Friendly Neighborhood Gamers, their podcast, they had a very cool trivia game at the end, which I guess I won't even say here. So go listen to that episode and hear it for yourself. But
there's many things like that we want to do.
Right.
And it's like there's one that we were talking about that I just love the idea of, like, not music, because like that's been done and whatnot, but just if you were to take a recognizable sound from a game, whether it be like a menu sound or just an enemy or a noise, where it's not too like, there could be levels of easy to hard, but you would take that and just be like, God, what? And if you were to get the series, that's like one point. If you were to get the title and like the numerical version or whatever, then you get another. Like, I think that'd be fun.
That's something we're gonna look at bringing in the future. So there you go. There's a little teaser. We looked back and now we looked ahead.
And maybe another one I liked was like, how well does blank know blank? So it's like, if I were to make a Zelda trivia test, it's like, how well do you know Zelda, Mr. Zelda Man?
Probably not. I don't know things well. Or like I do for a small amount of time, and then my brain is like, nah, forget that.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah, we'll do something with that. I think that covers most of the big moments in the Offshore Gamescast timeline to bring us to today.
We've met a lot of cool friends along the way.
Oh yeah, all the guest spots we've done, the crossovers, Grumpy Gamers, their podcast with them. That was our first. That was our first one.
They were a big, like, side partner, not like partner, but it was almost like a joyful competing against each other, or it's just like it was like another big similar podcast that we were both starting out and like getting there, and we were both just kind of rooting each other on, and then we are just like, yeah, let's just do stuff together. It's just been fun, all of them.
Yeah. And we've also done guest spots or crossovers with Gaming Together podcast, Tales from the Backlog, which is going to be out in like half a year.
Yeah.
Friendly Neighborhood Gamers, that should be out soon. We were on the Video Game Club podcast, that's out. And just meeting all those people and just doing stuff with them, and just the fact that it just naturally brings people together in a way that's like, again, the first time we did that was like, I was nervous, but then you realize like, oh, we're all here because we all have the same passion, and we're all so passionate about that. Just, it doesn't matter. You all just click immediately.
It just like we did talking about Resident Evil. Like, you find out, it's like, oh, you're into games too. It's like, oh, I can let a lot of guards down and just chill. Like, we're all just here for the same reason.
And so it's been fun. And there will only be more. There's always more. There are always new people. We'll do other stuff. We'll bring people on. We'll go on more shows. But it's cool.
It is.
All right, Dave. Let's be arrogant.
Narcissism.
Let's talk about us. This is gonna be the getting to know you phase. This is gonna be like the first date.
Aww. Speed date.
I didn't mean like between you and me. I meant like between us and people listening.
Yeah. You have to pay.
Me or like you?
You, Dylan. You have to pay.
I'm all right.
Drinks on Dylan.
Oh, drinks on. I thought you said drinks on Dylan.
Drink Dylan's son.
I don't like that.
That's okay.
I don't like any of that. Dave, what are your favorite games ever?
Favorite games ever. Let's do a back and forth, a seesaw. If you don't know, because I haven't talked about it before,
Never.
Borderlands 2 is an all-time favorite game. With over 700 hours. I have an entire month. An entire month has gone into just one character.
That's a lot of time.
It's a lot of time. And I love it.
The way your microphone is sitting and the shape it's making looks like Squidward.
Well, like his head?
Yep, that's his head. Like the cover, the mic cover thing is kind of like his nose coming out.
I could see it. I could see that.
One of my favorite games, which is also one of yours.
Yeah.
Yakuza 0. That's the one that got us started in the whole Yakuza Like a Dragon franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, we've never looked back since.
It's one of those things that I always love thinking about. Like, I would go into GameStop, and the amount of times I would walk by the Yakuza series without even knowing or just without giving it a second thought, and looking back now being like, that series has some low points, but overall it's just so good.
Yeah. It does have some low points, but for the most part, just consistent and good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's rare for how consistent and just how much it delivers.
And just with how amazing Zero is.
Zero is still, I don't know if we'll ever get one that good.
No. And it's just, it's got to be up there in top 10 because it's just everything. No, if you find a game, and I mentioned this before, you find a game and it's the first in a series that you have played of like a 7-8 game series, supposedly, and it doesn't even talk to you in your native language and it makes you cry.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going up there. It's good.
I know Yakuza 0 made you cry. Yakuza 6, I cried, I think 2 or 3 times. It's good.
There's the characters, the story, and all just the drama. It's all so good.
So good.
I've also mentioned this too. While BioShock 2 is my favorite shit, while Borderlands 2 while Borderlands 2 is my favorite game, the BioShock series
there you go.
is my favorite series, and if I were to pick one, BioShock Infinite being the favorite. Because the themes of that game and everything, I got shit on my wrists, but I got my chains, got my look at my ice, my drip, and my chains, and then I got my BioShock shit. I can't see it. Bam. God, I love it. It's so good.
The sound effects come with the tattoo. It's crazy.
Every
recording.
Everything about it, like, I can appreciate 2 for what it is. It wasn't developed by Irrational. It was just a way for Take-Two and 2K to get more money for the time being, and then shit on the studio and shut it down for bad reception. But having Irrational back and then making Infinite and just having that be a perfect, not only capstone, but a great tie-in with the DLCs, bringing it around, it is in full with that Burial at Sea DLC Part 1 and 2, a beautiful cycle. And it's great. And that's why, mainly because of Ken Levine, am I so excited for Judas coming out.
And because of Chris Jericho. Because of Chris Jericho, you have Judas in your mind. Mass Effect 2. Put your headphones back on. There you go. Mass Effect 2 this is the game I credit for, like, I don't want to say bringing me back into gaming, but
it's like you're born again. It's like you were rebaptized.
It was like after playing Mass Effect 2, I was like, this is it. This is what I'm doing forever now. Like, this is my passion.
Mm-hmm.
What a good fucking game. It's so good.
It is really good.
it was also the first game I experienced narrative in that way, and of course now it's still held up as like one of the best for a reason. The
Mm-hmm.
narrative, it's certainly not the gameplay.
Yeah.
Um, so like of course it would have that impact, but that was really like the first one that gaming was a narrative medium for me. Not that I
Mm-hmm.
never played a game of story before that, but where it was so much of a focus and it felt like everything I said or did actually mattered. That was my first experience with that, and that has just stuck with me since then.
It's games like that that piss me the fuck off when people who aren't gamers decide to just shove games off as a medium in general as like a waste. Like, oh, but movies and TV shows. I'm like, imagine a movie and a TV show that was even better than the movies and TV shows that you watch and you were involved.
Yep, there you go.
Fucking idiot. Like, there's so much good shit. People shit on animation. I think this is a very small bubble I'm poking at, but you look at DC, I think its animated movies are 10 times better than any of the fucking live action, not even talking about the ones modern day. Um, but there are games that are just so much better than movies and just the quality and just everything about it. And you can look at the games like The Last of Us and it's like, sure, but there's so much more than just those ones, than the Oscar like worthy winners that they build them up to be.
Good speech.
Thank you. Um, I really like Assassin's Creed 2.
You do.
So if I were to say the game that like would really get me into video games again, it was more of like a general era, because when I grew up it was mainly Nintendo, and my first console was the Wii up until I was like 13, 14 and got my 360. That was when things really started to fall into place for me, where I was playing Borderlands. Assassin's Creed 2 was the one that was like coming out at the time. So like that was a big one. And Assassin's Creed 2 specifically, there were so many aspects.
Sorry, continue.
There were so many aspects that were just so different from any of the just games in general. It was not only a big focus in narrative again, it was just a great narrative, fantastic characters, and like it's one of those things that will always stick with me is what other game or how many other games start off with the main character being born and your first button interactions being moving him and crying.
Game of life.
I hate that game.
That's how it starts.
But
just like that.
Assassin's Creed 2 did just such a good job. I mean, Ezio as a character is fantastic. It did so well that it broke the mainline series and turned it into a spin-off for a few years before coming back with another like mainline sequel. And he's just still regarded as just probably one of the, if not the best assassin that they have come up with in the whole just universe, timeline, story, and everything. It holds up so well. There's a reason they keep putting out Assassin's Creed 2 and Ezio and just say fuck you Assassin's Creed 1.
Yeah, Altair was very boring compared to Ezio.
Yeah, so they're just, instead of giving us one remake, they're just giving us Mirage, which fine. I'll take it. I would not be surprised if they announce like in the 2 weeks before, because they've done this shit in the past. I don't specifically remember which one it was. If it was like, it might have been Origins or Odyssey, where it was like you buy this and in the season pass you'll get Assassin's Creed 3 remastered or whatever. But about, I'm going to say, a month to 2 weeks before October 12th or whatever, when Mirage comes out, they're going to be like, and for this season pass you get Assassin's Creed 1 remastered, blah blah blah. It's just like, haha, cool. Yeah,
cool.
Fuck you.
One of my earliest gaming memories is growing up, because I have two older brothers who also played games as kids. Super Mario 64. The Nintendo 64 was not technically mine, but that is one of the first. That or another game I'm going to talk about on here, which is probably obvious based on what we've said in this game. But it was one of my earliest gaming memories. And one thing I remember about my mom that is not directly related to me, but it's a story she always told, is that my brothers struggled so much on the first boss in Super Mario 64. The big bomb at the top of like the mountain. to where they went to school and she sat down and figured out how to play and beat the first boss for them so they could continue the game. Which not exactly a direct memory of mine, but just something related to it. But that game. The design holds up.
Mm-hmm.
The controls, they were still figuring out 3D games at the time.
My intro to that game was the DS version, and that's how I
It's a
played it.
completely different game.
It is.
Completely different.
I enjoyed it still. I had a great time.
The levels and the design, like everything about that's all still great. It's mostly the camera and some of the controls. The controls are still pretty good. It's mostly the camera.
Yeah.
It's the camera. But yeah, that's probably not a surprising one because it always goes down as like one of the best ever. But yeah, it's so good.
Everyone has a Mario game story.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw Fable 2 out there. The twos get them right. They do a real good job most of the time.
Yep.
But Fable, we saw the trailer recently. Fuck you, because it was just a cinematic with some gameplay that people don't believe is real gameplay, but no release date. I don't care. Give me a release date. But until then, we have Fable 1, 2, and 3, and 2 is just the best. The things that you can do in that game, the level of systems, how deep it all goes, how much you can just do what you want. While it still had a small scope, it had such level of choice that was just like, I can do what I want. To a point, but I can do it more than a lot of other games can. And that game, there's just the things you can do. I have memories, and I'm just like, I can't forget how I went on my tangent to become evil.
Your tangent?
Because you play the Fable games, you want to be the good guy, the hero, but obviously there's a morality system. You start doing bad stuff, you'll grow horns, and you'll become fat and ugly and stupid.
And then you just load up the save before that.
Yeah, you could, but I decided to, take a turn.
That's what I did in the first Fable, which is what I played the most. Was I did the whole thing as a good guy. I beat the game, and then immediately after, it's like, all right, I'm just gonna go kill everyone.
Yep.
Start throwing fireballs at everyone.
It's what you do. And any big RPG, Skyrim is all right. Let's go down and kill everybody.
You usually at some point you hit the point of like, what if I just start killing them?
And then, but games are getting smart now, and they're like, well, if you kill them, they're dead. And it's like, damn it, fuck you.
Continue on with Super Mario 64. What I think is actually the best. 64 I have a lot of nostalgia for, and nostalgia is powerful. But what I think is the best Mario game of all time is Odyssey. That game fucking rules.
It's a great game.
The change from like, here's your map, instead of like, oh, I'm gonna jump in for a version of the map, get a star, jump out, jump back in. It's like, no, here's this big map, a big level, and there's just moons everywhere, all over the map. Go find them all. I love that. It's so good. It controls so good. Just give me Super Mario 64 with Odyssey controls and looks. I'll be so happy.
That's why I'm mad that it takes so long in between 3D Mario games.
I mean, they're all bangers, so like I'm sure they put a lot of time. I'm sure they're working on the next 3D Mario at this moment.
They are.
It's the 2D Mario's fun. 3D Mario is really my jam though, and this one is.
Do you think it's gonna be Super Mario Legacy?
No.
Well, it kind of gets bigger. In a way.
Is an Odyssey bigger than a Galaxy?
A Galaxy's definitely bigger than a 64.
That is you're right about that.
Would you consider 64 to be bigger than Sunshine?
Well, hold on. It does 64 and then Sunshine.
Okay, the sun is more power, and then the
Galaxy is bigger.
But then Odyssey is like,
you're going from planet to planet, so it's like you're traveling through. But you were doing that in Galaxy too.
Odyssey is like a scope, like it's an ideal.
It's just gonna be like Starfield.
Yeah, Mario. It's Mario, but instead he takes out his hammer, and you become the hammer, and you're just mining resources for 40 hours.
Sick.
That's all the bosses are crystals and resources. And you're just chipping them apart, and that's your. Don't listen to this, Nintendo. You're gonna do it.
No, they won't.
They better not.
They won't.
That's a great game, though. I love Odyssey.
So good.
every once in a while you gotta have that game that it does not matter anything but just the gameplay itself, and that is Skate 3 for me. Skate, we've talked about it recently with Pro Skater 1 and 2 and just how much I fell in love with that game, but I grew up with the Skate games, and Skate 3 is just something that has absolutely hooked me. It's just so you don't every it's like a Spider-Man. We watch a Spider-Man movie, you got to hop into Spider-Man and swing. You just get the urge, you just go and skate. It's great.
Is that the slogan for Skate?
I hope
you
so.
go and skate. It's great.
Do it, please.
If that comes out, Skate. It's great.
Skate. It's great.
Lawsuit.
Oh no! Wait, against me or I'm suing them?
No, we're suing them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're gonna get all the money.
All right, and a copy of Skate. I hope.
Yeah,
It's a good. I want to play. I want the new Skate. Skate 3 is so good.
We've been doing a lot of Zelda talk lately.
Unfortunately.
And no, fortunately. And Ocarina of Time. I will tell you, both Breath of the Wild and then on top of that, Tears of the Kingdom are better games. But nostalgia is powerful.
That it is.
Ocarina of Time is. It rounds out my list of my top favorite games. Maybe after I actually complete Tears of the Kingdom, which will be like a million years from now. Maybe that will change, but Ocarina of Time, too many memories, too much time put into that. That's never gonna be taken away from me. I don't think it'll ever change.
Tears of the Kingdom is really good.
It is. It's the best Zelda game.
Yeah, it is.
It just is.
I want to go back and play all of them now.
You're gonna be so disappointed.
It's okay.
They're mostly good.
I want to play them chronologically.
Oh boy. Have fun with that.
So the one last one that I do want to mention is a game that the people who decided that the sequel wasn't worth it is something that I have to deal with and think about every day. And every day
it's a daily struggle.
I have to live with the fact that they decided to not put out the sequel. But the original still holds up really well, even without a remaster, and that is the 2006 Prey. That is probably another one of those. That was one of my earliest 360 gaming memories. That because a lot of the games I would borrow off my buddy.
This is one you're never gonna get.
It's
never
gonna come out.
No.
And I, as of recently, rewatched some of the trailers and gameplay, and I was just complaining because it. I don't care if it was just a vertical slice. It worked. It looked great. And it was one of those things
just works.
Where everything in the trailer was one of those trailers where, although it was cinematic, it demonstrated things that your character could do in game, and that's what I loved. Because it's like, don't just show me some dumbass cinematic trailer, make it look cool, and then at the end it's just a Dota game. Like that's how you destroy me. Cinematic trailers are the most bullshit thing. Those are the big red arrows and thumbnails. They suck. But the cool thing about back in the day is they wanted to show you the things that you could do, but also have it look really good. And I'm just talking about Prey 2 at this point. The first Prey is great. Prey 2006 is great. It had a lot of great things for
Prey
itself.
Prey 2 is one of your favorite games of all time, just from the trailer.
It's so good. Prey 2 would 100% be in my top 10, top 5, top 3 maybe if it had released. It is. I don't care. Even if it didn't come out well and critically, it's so. And because the things that have come out about it since, where the story would have gone and everything, you would have played a different main character, but still would have interacted with the previous ones. It was all connected, and the way that the story would have ended would have been amazing and great.
Well, that's Prey 2006.
Well, it's Prey 2, but Prey 2006 is really good. Please play it. It's like dirt cheap wherever you go.
I'd imagine so at this point.
You have a copy upstairs.
Do I?
You do.
Oh. Okay.
It's a good game.
All right. This is a Dave segment coming up.
Look. This whole part was supposed to be things about us and stuff that we've done. And for some reason Dylan just has nothing special about him. And
No.
maybe the things that I think are special about me,
Yeah.
Dylan just does not care about. Because they're personal gaming memories. It's personal.
Dave, please list off your first one.
Specifically, the first few things that I put down were games that have had a big impact on me for certain reasons. Mainly are where I played them or whether I beat them in one sitting. There was something about it. One of my earliest gaming memories was playing the entirety of Gears of War 2 from start to finish.
Yep.
From 8 a.m. to like 3, 4 in the afternoon. And in the entire time, I finished a whole box of Cheez-Its.
There it is! This is why we're different. this right here.
I can't remember the last time I beat a game in one sitting and had an entire box of Cheez-Its. That doesn't happen often.
This is the difference. I'm sure I've done plenty of shit like that, but my brain is like, that's not important.
But
the amount of times I've heard you say that you have played Gears of War 2 in one sitting and ate a whole box of Cheez-Its.
It
as
matters.
Like this profound thing.
Have you done that?
Not that specifically.
What game have you sat down and played in one sitting while you ate a whole box of Cheez-Its?
That's the thing. That's the thing.
But here's the thing, too. A box of Cheez-Its is a lot of food.
When I open a box of Cheez-Its, I'm typically finishing it.
I don't.
I've done that countless times.
Because it's a great snack.
It's a wonderful snack.
But it's not often that I would do that. So when it happened, it just so happened to be I was completing 2 projects.
Oh God.
But the whole point is like games that I think it's cool whenever I have the time or whatever to find, especially play a game that's not like a 2-3 hour game in one sitting, and that was Gears of War. That was one of them. Halo 3 is another one. I played that with.
What did you eat for that one?
I didn't. I don't think I ate that day.
Oh.
That was another one where I woke up at 8 a.m. and I played until like 3, and I was with, I don't remember his gamer tag, but it was this other dude named David.
Of course.
And we both just woke up and we were just like, you want to play the entirety of the Halo 3 co-op campaign? We were like, yeah. And then we just did it. Portal 2, that was a great one. That was when the library that I worked at started getting video games, and I was like, oh shit. And I was like around the time where I was getting to work there, so it's like late fees, it doesn't fucking matter. And like I could keep that shit for 10 years. Like no one cares. But I rode my bike to the library, got Portal 2 on the day that they put it out, because I was like, I gotta fucking play it. And I rode home, and I remember setting up my flip video camera in the worst angle to record my shitty TV. And I did my first ever like gameplay recording of Portal 2, and I played it in one sitting, and that game was fantastic.
That I enjoy this memory.
That one, yeah.
This one I can look back and be like, it's like the start of your content creating journey.
Yeah, I would do that. Like I would record zombies, COD zombies, a lot of Left 4 Dead. Portal 2 was like the big one. And then I have some other ones like Escape Dead Island was a big one, because that one I beat in technically 2 days. It was like I started it like one night and then I finished it the next morning, because I ended up getting stuck at one point. But that game was like a fucking fever dream of like the content that it had. But the reason that one stuck out to me is that was around the time where I was like deciding I want to start a game collection. And I went to GameStop and I pretty much bought every game that they had that was under $4 that I didn't own. And I walked out of there. I spent like $30. I was walking out of there with like 14, 15 games.
That math doesn't. It could work.
But like it's just like, and Escape Dead Island was one of them. And that was like, oh my god, I can't believe this shit. But in the same time span, roughly, in an entire trip, because I started at a GameStop in Pennsylvania on vacation to start my collection, and in that trip, I ended up coming across a game called Sector 8, which was just this random ass like third person shooter on Mars, where you're in just like some mechs, like some power armor suits, and you got jetpacks, and it was just like a fun ass just shooter game, like just. Shooter game. It had a sense almost like each mission was just like a big battle, like a Earth Defense Force type deal, where you're just kind of like running around, just taking out like a base, and just like there's ships coming in and whatnot. But it was just a generally just fun game, and I was so enthralled in it. This old random 360 game that I just played it and beat it in the entire time I was on vacation. I just every night we would come back and I was just like, I want more. This silly little game. Oh, it's good.
I have a memory.
Is it your own?
It is my own. This I don't remember what grade I was in, but Mario Party 4 was on the GameCube, and the GameCube was the first console that was like my console, not from my brother's. Like this was like no, my parents got it. It was like the traditional, like it was a Christmas present. This is my console, like you know. And that entire summer between grades, like it did summer break, I spent it just playing Mario Party 4 by myself. And not as like a, well, I didn't have any friends. Like, no, I had friends. I think that was me discovering I'm introverted with people. And I think that was also the start of me being like, I went through a good hefty, and now I just don't care as much. But I went through a good period of like, fuck these games are not gonna have a single player mode or let you play. Like, fuck that. Like, now I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, there's games for everyone. I don't care.
Yeah.
But I also didn't read the book I was supposed to that summer because I was playing Mario Party 4. Nice. I remember that I would ask my teacher for help with something. She was like, "Did you read the book?" I was like, "Yeah,
yeah, I have the most stars."
Like, so you remember like this scene with this? And I was like, "Uh huh."
No. Bowser was there.
You mean like when I rolled the dice, right? Like
yeah. Oh, I got put back. Sorry, I got put back a few pages.
I landed on a red space, you know.
Damn it.
But there you go. I came up with that one.
I would so one of the things that I would have to deal with a lot was growing up quite impoverished. I didn't for a long time. I mean, one of the reasons why my aspect has been so focused on single player games is I didn't have internet for a good portion of time growing up. So I mean, on my 360, the best I had was whatever I could play. That I mean, goddamn, nowadays with all the downloading day one updates, downloading 70, 80 gig games when you can just put a game in and play it. But I would, back in the day, 360 games would come. Some of them, like more first party games like Halo, Gears of War, would come with like passes for Xbox Live, to where I would save them because I mean I would get the Call of Duties and whatnot. I'm there for the campaigns, but I'd love to hang out and like go over for a sleepover with some friends and like play some multiplayer. So what I would do is I would go and save my passes, and I would just like, all right, I have a sleepover coming out, and I would look through them, and I would be like, no, I'm not staying for that long. Here's a 2-day pass, and I would take one of my passes and go over, and I would enter it in the information, and I would stay up all night utilizing every second of internet that I could until I went back home. And pretty much anytime like we would hang out and play Call of Duty, I didn't sleep. I was up all night.
That is like baby Dave learning how to learning economics. I budget and save and.
In a way, like, yeah, I could kind of see it that way, but it's like I had no choice, and it was just like, all right, this is my chance. And I was over at my buddy's house one time, and I guess somehow I was being too loud, and his mom just yelled at me like, "Dave, go to sleep!" And I panicked, and in the middle of a Black Ops 2 multiplayer game, I shut that console off, turned all the lights off, and I laid down as fast as I could. And my first thought was, God damn it. Like, there goes the rest of that internet. And like, it's just gone. And like, I'm pretty sure somewhere, like, I have a box of just random game pamphlets and just like game stuff that I've collected over the years, maps and whatnot. I have an unused pass somewhere.
Why are you so loud?
I don't know, maybe the controllers. But that was another thing. I would come back from those sleepovers, and my thumbs would be so sore from just like the 10 hours straight of playing multiplayer games, just running, click, 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 just pushing in and indenting on my thumbs.
Yeah, controllers weren't as good then too. Like it.
Yeah, and they would wear away so fast. Oh, I love that though.
All right, here's one for you. Ocarina of Time. We talked about that before.
Mm.
One thing one of my older brothers used to always do would be like, I want to see if I can beat it within 24 hours, one sitting. I want to see if I can do it. And of course, like looking back, if you're like a speed runner, that's like 24 hours. I could beat it like a million times in that span.
Yeah.
So that's not us.
No.
So I did do that one time. It was about a 9-hour sitting. I did it, and it was like, and then of course I looked up the actual like speed running times. Because I was like, proud. I was like, wow, that must be like one. And then I looked it up, and I was like, oh, what a joke.
Game can be beaten in 23 minutes.
Yeah, like. But that was sitting down. Like I like trained for it. Like I played through the game before then, and then like figure out like, okay, what's the fastest way to move around this game, and like stuff like that. Yeah.
That's like me with Borderlands 1, but much more nonchalant. Because I would play that game so many times, and it's down to a thing now where like I try to play it once every year. And I just so happen to notice because like as I was mentioning before, like the way you play Borderlands 1 is you really need to do every single side quest to get to the level to like really beat the game and like be strong enough without just doing needless grinding. And so you basically essentially pretty much 100% the game every time you play it. And over the years I'm noticing it's just slowly going quicker and quicker. So it's like I loaded up one save and it was like, oh, it took me 12 hours last time, and I got done playing like that 1, 2, 3 day session. I was like, oh, it took me 10 hours and 6 minutes. I was like, oh wow, it's getting all right. That's pretty cool.
And I can do it in 2 minutes.
No. But like, those are like the fun, like Borderlands 2. Like, of course, I'd play those in one sitting. Like, just flew through them, this and that.
You did that. Actually, you did that month-long character in one sitting.
I did.
It's crazy.
And that's that. I mean, I'm so glad that Editor Al recommended those diapers. It really helped.
You wouldn't have gone through it otherwise.
No, not at all. I mean, kind of going off like that sort of thing. One of the fun memories was when before like streaming the Game Awards or just like doing podcast stuff in general, we would just hang out. Like we said, like go on websites, and when an E3 or something would come around and be like, hey, let's get some Wendy's, hop on the couch, and just watch some conferences. And due to leaks and stuff, I knew for a fact that the day of the conference that we were hanging out, they were announcing that Borderlands 2 was getting a fifth DLC, basically bridging the gap between 2 and 3, that was going to be released. And it just so happened that there was a decent amount, like 2.5 hours in between the major conferences that we wanted to watch. So we finished like one of the main ones, and we were waiting for Xbox later, but it was like, all right, got like 2.5 hours. I brought my disc and I downloaded it on his Xbox, and I played the entirety of the DLC in one sitting with my strongest character, just on normal mode, just one-shotting everything, just to get the story. And then I finished it, and I don't remember what you were playing, but you got done playing something, and you come out like, you're done. Like, yeah, it's like, all right, Xbox is coming on in a few minutes.
Yep, you were out in the living room, and I was in my bedroom. Just this.
Yep, completely separate.
Yep.
And like Corey walked down and was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm just playing." Like, oh, okay. Where's Dylan? In his room. Oh, okay. Like nothing.
The good old days.
Yeah.
This is an us memory where we both got into our retro collecting around the same time.
Mm-hmm.
At least like super hardcore. Like we're gonna get everything for everything.
Like major collection, even to the point where we were getting into like reselling.
Right. And there's a retro game store not far from us, or
there used to be one. It's the same company, but they opened up its first location like pretty much 2 minutes up the road.
Yeah, like very close.
And it was small, but like we didn't really have stuff like that. Like it was cool. No. Like especially for us, like the mall, which was like the best thing you had that had just like a general GameStop, that was like 45 minutes away. So like this was cool. And like even for me, it was only like 25 minutes, and like I wouldn't go too often, but like we would go and it was nice. And then eventually they would close that one down and open up much further away a bigger version. And that's sort of just kind of like every week, 2 weeks, just kind of go and like spend whatever we could and just grow our collection, get this, get that.
We would go in, we'd kind of like separate in the store,
Yeah.
get our shit, go back in the car, like, all right, so what'd you get?
Yeah, it was kind of like a reveal at the end of the
Yeah.
hall. Be like, all right, and like we're walking through the store, and like we have a stack. It's like, don't you fucking look. It's like you go in line first. I'll wait.
It's almost like the oh my god, the back and forth we were doing then, the way we do our back and forths now. Like,
oh my god,
oh my god,
it's insane.
Our friendship revolves around back and forths.
It does. It's better than back to back.
Disagree.
That's what you think. But I mean, those trips were awesome, and that was what started me on like you're obviously more the retro guy. Like I would get like some original Xbox, mainly like PS3, 360, like some of that stuff. But like my main focus was Game Boy, so like specifically complete in box Game Boy games because cardboard boxes, keeping them in good enough condition, and just the scarcity of them. That's where I found my excitement. I here's another one. So on top of going to like GameStop to like start my collection, um, there were certain aspects of just like having GameStop in general where like obviously as an adult it's so easy to just get a game and just buy it. But especially like it for me as a kid, like there were lengths that I would have to go. Like no internet, I couldn't just buy a game online. And especially like if I wanted something, what I had to do was we would go and me and my dad we would get on the bus, go like 2 towns over, and like at some points walk a mile just to get to like GameStop. And I remember uh there was a time where Saints Row 3 and Assassin's Creed Revelations were coming out at the same time. And we took all this time to travel there, and Saints Row 3 was sold out. And that's what I wanted. And I was like, but I gotta get something. So that's when I got Assassin's Creed Revelations. And then, like, more often than not, like, the amount of times I would go there and just like, God, what? Like, I this is not gonna be a waste. Because I gotta take the bus back, all this stuff, find time to play it. I mean, and this is, I mentioned this recently on one of the other episodes. Just for me, how cool it was when like you would play a game and just the amount of content on the discs. So it's like some games like it can be annoying having like an install disc and like a play disc, but like LA Noire, Rage 3, where it's just like 3 discs in general. It's like, all right, you're done. Put in disc 2, and it's like I don't know what that means. Do I have to turn the thing like? Can I just you want take the disc out with the thing's running? What? No,
I don't like that.
no. But that like that stuff was so exciting to me.
Here's one we did together. We watched the Yakuza movie together.
So Yakuza is great. And some point I was looking up and I found out that in Japan they made a decently low budget movie that felt more like fan made.
Yeah.
But oh my god, is it just as wacky in its own regard?
If you're not like a big Yakuza fan, you will watch it like this is fucking stupid. It's terrible. But as people who really enjoy the series, they were. I'm not gonna sit here and say it was a good movie, but it was entertaining.
It was like watching the M. Night Shyamalan Last Airbender movie.
I haven't seen it, but I hear it's bad.
Look, knowing what the source material is and what you got, it's like, oh, but this is still kind of funny to watch. Like it's so bad it's good.
It is very entertaining.
It was like I found it. I was like, I have to buy 2 copies, one for me, one for Dylan.
Yeah,
like,
we watched it on DVD.
Yep. But it was such a fucking experience. Here's another one that you're gonna think is stupid, and it's another Gears of War 2 memory.
Oh, here we go.
Out of nowhere, because when does this happen? I was riding home from work on my bike one day, and I was taking my normal route I take all the time, and out of the corner of my eye, on someone's front lawn, about 15 feet away from the road, is a Gears of War 2 360 case. No disc. Everything else.
And you took it.
I took it. It's mine.
And when you got home, you opened the box, and a box of Cheez-Its arose from the middle. And you're like, I have to eat this box of Cheez-Its and play the game.
And out of the Cheez-Its was a disc in the shape of Cheez-Its that I had to put in.
Yeah. It all comes. If that's what happened, this would be one of the greatest memories ever.
That'd be something. I'd hope to. I'd probably have to talk to some scientists, and I probably wouldn't be here right now.
No, probably not. They would have put you in a padded room.
Absolutely. But there's so many just fun little things, just little gaming memories that just kind of stick out over the years.
Tomb Raider movie, another movie.
That was
We saw that in theaters.
It still is frustrating that because like it was kind of going along the same route that the modern like remake of the games were going, and then like the sequel fell apart.
It wasn't a bad movie.
It wasn't.
It was. I'm not gonna. It wasn't excellent. It wasn't like top tier, but
it wasn't gonna change things and be like, all right, video game movies can work.
Not at all.
But it was just.
It was entertaining.
Yeah.
It definitely invoked the modern games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good times.
It was.
What a memory.
I'm sweating.
Yeah, it's hot in here.
Oh yeah, it is.
Put that down for next year's memory.
Remember when we were sweating together? We were so hot.
And then we ate a box of Cheez-Its.
Oh my god, the amount of acid I would have now, I can't do that.
Oh yeah, it's bad.
Heartburn.
It gets you bad.
Oh, the simpler times where heartburn didn't exist.
Yeah.
It wasn't a chore. We don't have outros. There's no other way to end this. What are some last minute Dylan Dave things? Game things. What do we like? What is us?
Let's talk about things in games that we'll go through them quick. But things that a game has that we're like, that's for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna play this now. For me, rhythm games. Give me any sort of rhythm mini game, or just a game that revolves around rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Hi-Fi Rush. Not a traditional rhythm game, but it's certainly a rhythm game.
It is cool.
I fucking love that game. It's one of my favorite games this year.
Mm-hmm. Don't forget Citus. You love your Citus.
I love Citus. I go through phases with Citus. Mm-hmm. I'll play it for like weeks and obsess over it, and then I'm like, I'm not gonna play that for like 6 months. And I just jump right back in. But it's easy to do that with that game. You
had your Beat Saber phase.
Beat Saber, I got the controller. After going to Japan and playing their rhythm games, I was like, I need this at home.
Yep.
I need this. It's a whole different world, and it's great.
And I mean, I've gotten some cool rhythm games out of that too that I didn't think I would enjoy. I mean, we tried Rhythm Sprout at PAX. I mean, that was cool.
It's a fun game.
It was fun. For me, the most important thing is just like any form of immersion, and that usually comes with first person. Where it's like it can be like a character. It doesn't have to be like you as the player. It could just be like a dude, and I'm still doing it. But it's like it's from their perspective. It's like in the action part of it. That's always been my favorite thing.
Mini games, kind of going along that route, which I know feels weird for me to say mini games immerse me, but mini games they almost give like they're typically, if it's not like a mini game, if it's not like a WarioWare or some shit,
mm-hmm.
It's like an open world, or Yakuza. Like Yakuza is a game where it's certainly a narrative game, but it has mini games. That shit immerses me as like, oh, he's more than just like this Yakuza gang member beating people up and being a good guy. Mm-hmm. He's like out there in the city, living it up, like playing these games and just enjoying the city. And that gives me more of that immersion. It makes me feel like I'm like there more.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about it before with like stuff like Numa and whatnot, but puzzle games. I love puzzles, figuring shit out. I mean, there are games that have puzzle sections that are stupid as shit and like whatever, but like certain games really pull it off well. Like I know The Witness is one of those that I really need to just get and like start playing. Like Portal, a lot of any of those kind of clones. Cube is a fun one.
Cube is good. Well, Cube. I don't think I played Cube 2.
Maybe I don't. Was it Cube 2? I don't think. I think Cube 2 I didn't play it. Cube 1 was the one I played. But like like just fun puzzle games. Like a lot of those are in first person. Like you can even say like stuff like the anxiety games like Limbo Inside have a puzzle aspect to them. Sure. When it's sort of like anything like that. Like Ghost Runner is a puzzle game. Katana Zero is a puzzle game. Like they're depending on how you look at it, but like that level of like figuring it out and like just kind of coming to a solution instead of just like shooting it, you know?
Yes,
I like puzzle games.
I like cleaning games.
Yeah.
I give me. I mean, the big ones for me are House Flipper and Power Wash Simulator.
Mhm.
But give me a game or give me something where it's like this thing's gonna look like shit. Spend an hour or two with it, and it's gonna look so good. It's just the satisfaction of. It's the same way that when you do a big cleaning in real life. Yeah, the process sucks, which it doesn't in the game because you're not actually doing it.
Mhm.
But at the end, you get that satisfaction of like it being all clean, and the whole process in a video game version of that. Yeah, I love that.
You should what's that game? The cleanup crew game.
Yeah, where you're the guy that like goes through and you clean up like all the murder and shit.
Yeah, I have the one for Shadow Warrior, which I played a little bit of, which I thought was fun. But I like that because like Power Wash Simulator's doing that too with like Power Wash SpongeBob's house, like that kind of stuff.
They have
It's fun.
oh, I think they have the Tomb Raider mansion in
Okay,
Power Wash, and there was something else too. I don't remember. I
hmm
want to say they had a Final Fantasy thing.
that makes sense. Um, Narrative games, just it's very broad, but it's like I do enjoy like my Good Life is Strange or Telltale. Like games with choices that do matter. Just good stories. BioShock, something that's gonna keep me involved and like has good characters. It's really simple as that.
Tying in with that, I put down choices.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that is like a main story choice that actually affects the story, or choosing like there are people you can start a relationship with, or there's character customization, or like decorating a space. When you give me that level of customization or
Mm-hmm.
choice, that helps immerse me like immediately way more.
Oh yeah. Uh, I like we said retro. I'm a Game Boy guy. So I started off with the original Game Boy in my hands, playing Super Mario Land 2, and it's just hooked with me since. One of my favorite little memories was when I would go and just like I'd be sitting in bed doing my homework and my mom would come in with a brand new Game Boy game and they were all licensed back in the day and like Madagascar, Finding Nemo and stuff. But I would get so hyped and just rush through my homework just to rip it open and play and be God, it's just those are that's the nostalgia for me.
This next one is very much so a me thing.
Uh-huh.
Uh, there's something about games. And I've talked about this before. If you've been listening to the show, you know about this. If you're in like a big open world city, or well, if you're anywhere, and it's you think about how many games take place during like nighttime, or it's dark, or it's but when you're out exploring the world and it's like bright and sunny and it's during the day, it gives me like a cozy feeling that I can't explain, but it just brings me happiness, peace, and joy. So we call them daytime Dylan games.
That's the problem. The problem is you can't explain it, and
I
I
can't,
want
I
an
I
explanation.
can't. All I can do is say I'm playing it, and it gives me a feeling that just I enjoy. That's it. That's the best way I can. That's all I can tell you. Bright sun, good game. Usually in a city. Like the Yakuza games, you're mostly at night, but then you get those segments where it's like it's during the day and you're out running around doing shit. I like that.
Sure. Um, I my last fun thing, bad games. Pretty much like my main focus is like maximum games, pretty much pre 2020. They were synonymous to me just putting out games that just aren't up to snuff. They came out with a port of Lichtenstein Battle Mage for Xbox, which was just trash, and I love Battle Mage games. Troll and I was one that was just like you see games like this, and it's like I honestly I can say the Troll and I is better than Lord of the Rings Gollum, but it's not
But you haven't played,
too
so
far
can
off.
you?
Oh yeah, because it's not a great
Hmm.
game.
Um, Before we close this off, we got a couple write-ins, a couple questions for us, for little old us. And
What do we got?
we're gonna start out with uh, on Twitter at Real King Zozotai. Uh, this is Will from the Friday Night Gamecast. He asked, "What are each of your favorite episodes?" I think we agree on this. I have two.
I don't know what my other one would be, but we've talked about it before, and the Pokemon Legends Arceus one was just one where we just could not stop gushing.
It's rare that we both play something at the same time and feel so similarly about it to
Mm-hmm.
where we can just go back and forth.
And it was such an evolution for the overall gameplay of the series, and it just clicked so well. And I mean, we also had a great time talking about Scarlet and Violet and just how much fun that was. But just having that first experience with something like Arceus and just all the things that Arceus itself brings with it of just the catching mechanic and just the collecting, those just we just could not stop. It's such a good game.
My other one would be Game of the Year 2022. That
Yeah,
was a good one. I felt good about that one.
any game of the year focused stuff where
Yeah.
it's like a big culmination towards the end is always a fun capstone to it.
Thank you for writing in. Then
Thank
we got
you.
one more question.
What?
This is from Dave from Tales from the Backlog.
Hello.
Also, go check out his show. What have you learned about yourselves as gamers and content creators on the journey to 100 episodes? And his handle, just so you know, is at TFTBLPod on Twitter. A couple things. As a gamer, I've learned that I've definitely played games that I wouldn't normally have because of doing a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned that maybe I should, instead of being like, oh, I'm not going to like that type of game, that style, like, roguelikes is the big one. We're like, I hate that. And then I play, like, the good ones. And it's like, oh, I get it. It is good. I've learned that I think if a game is good, regardless of, or considered good or something, you know, whatever, however you want to say that, no matter what the style is, I should be more open to it instead of immediately being like, oh, it's this type of thing, I'm not gonna like it.
Yeah.
Because most of the time I like it. And content creators, we talked about it before. It's just learning. This is just normal for us now. Like talking into a microphone in front of a camera, like it's just a normal thing we do.
No matter how much you think you can handle it, you can't. And you're always just going to be scrambling and doing your best. For the most part, it's not as smooth, and everyone says that. And you think that, and then you do it, and then everyone says that, but then you do it, and it's just like, yeah, it's a fucking lot. It's a crazy thing to handle. But I mean, as long as you find it rewarding in it of yourself to keep it going, that's what really matters, and that's what at least that's what it is for us.
So deep.
So deep.
What have you learned about yourself as a gamer?
I can say that I enjoy my level of broadening in the games that I've played, specifically picking up some strategy games, but mainly like fighting games. I picked up ARPGs more so over time. I still don't like RTSs. I mean, that's just that hasn't changed. Roguelikes are a big one. There's like a lot of things that like over time you just gotta try, and it'll take a while to click sometimes, but it finally does. And it's just I guess it's just generally fun to be open minded when it comes to like these sort of games, and just the overall just experiences getting those.
All right, we're gonna call it here. I think this went longer than we were expecting.
I generally thought this was gonna be about how long it was gonna be.
All right, well, you're a genius.
Well.
If anyone stuck around with us this long, 100 episodes, that's a long time. So thank you for that.
Hopefully it's like 30 more to go.
Wow.
At least.
I would hope so. Join us again Thursday. Back to normal content. This was not normal content. Thursday, Diablo 4. The week after that, AEW Fight Forever. And of course, episode 100, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, is out now. Go check that out.
Goodbye, good games. Good. Goodbye, Dylan.